something like 1.5 hours, so we should start directly in time. I want to announce the first lecture then. It is from China, from Taiwan. That's a state key laboratory of cold conversion there. And the title runs Commercialization Porspects in China, qualification from synthesis. That's going to be presented by Dr. Hao. Okay. How to, okay, how to, but please.
Good morning, everybody. I will give a commercialization perspective for CTL in China. The head of our research group, Professor Yong Wang, have something to deal with. He can't come this time, so I will give his presentation. I will explain my presentation in four parts: introduction, CTL process, CTL in China, and in the end, I will give a summary. First, I will introduce technology achievement in China in Institute of Cold Chemistry. And many people in China have known the big plant of CTL, like Sasso and Shell, and running of our PET plant. And they began to know the technology of CTL can practically convert coal to liquid hydrocarbon by FDS technology. And now this opportunity is very large in China. And China began to realize by applying CTL technology at the industrial and the production scale can solve the oil resource problem. Begin talking everything, I'd like to talk about the driving force in China. Supply and oil supply and demand contradict. In general, the confirmed coal reserve is above the magnitude of 2 compared to that of oil reserve. And it is generally agreed that China has to use coal as a major primary energy in the long term. And this is the supply and production figure for oil demand. And the blue one is the current situation of extrapolation of oil demand. And the red one is the limited extrapolation with the consideration of a strategy for reducing oil compression. And the green line is the production scale along several years. From the figure we can see by the end of 2004, we have imported oil from foreign country, and the demand, this amount has reached 120 tons per annually. And also we can see to 2020, this amount will reach more, yearly 600 million tons. So there is a big gap in demand and the market in China. China is trying to find a solution to solve this gap. Now they have realized using FTS technology, CTL can fill some of this gap. This is a general CTL process from coal. Firstly, the coal gets fed to syngas and then purified to clean syngas. And in the FTS process, it gets immediate product, wax, oil, and LPG. And the immediate product, so include in upgrading, it will get LPG, clean diesel, and naphtha. Or for this process, our main product is diesel. And we must have an air separation unit to supply oxygen for gasification. We also should have a utility cooling water, nitrogen, something like that to support the whole plant. And this is the general rough data from coal to end production. And total efficiency is around 14.3% to 50%. This is the main frame of in and out diagram of all our high reaction process technology, CTL process. And we have oxygen and coal, cooler process, and we have end product, oil. For every value, we change it to standard value for standard coal. And this is rough data for electricity, steam, and something. Next, I will give the CTL research in China. CTL is mainly research in Institute of Coal Chemistry under the support of Chinese Academy of Science, mainly in our institute. We divided the research into two stages. One stage is before 1997, and from 1977 to 1983, we first developed a fused iron catalyst. And this catalyst first tested by a single tube. And from 1983 to 1985, we built a 2-barrel per day of a multi-tube reactor, a pipe plant. And from 1986 to 1987, single tube test of improved fuel iron catalyst. And all at the same time, we also developed a precipitated iron catalyst. And in 1989, single tap testing of precipitated iron catalyst. And at the same time, we also developed the laboratory test in slurry phase bubble reactor. And the bubble reactor internal diameter is around 5 centimeters. From 1990 to 1993, we built a gasification plant with a capacity of 40 barrels per day. And it is a 50-barrel reactor. It is about 2,000 silver. And during that time, because oil price is very low, so this project can run very well. And after 1997, the oil price will go up again, and the FTS research will change in China again. And we, under support of Chinese Academy of Science, we began the plant again. And this time, by the analysis of economic technically, we decided to develop a slurry fish bubble reactor process. And firstly, we investigate the process, technology in laboratory, and our investigation are divided into 5 parts. First, we developed the ICC1 catalyst. This is the iron top and cation catalyst for heavy fraction synthesis technology. We have also developed a second catalyst. This is the ICC2 catalyst, iron and manganese for light fraction synthesis. In our institute, another group also developed a cobalt catalyst. And firstly, we build a detailed kinetic model in our laboratory, and we got the information from the characterization of catalyst, reaction test, and the quantum calculation. And based on the detailed kinetic model, we built a reactor model for slurry bubble reactor. And we also have the facility to do the hydrodynamic test and safety calculation in our research group. Based on this information, we get the reactor design. And based on the reactor model, we build a process model for a pilot plant and big plant with processing software, Aspen Plus. And for the synchronous upgrading, we cooperate with other research groups to develop a new technology suitable for FTS synchronous upgrading. This is a long-run test of ICC1 catalyst. From the video, you can see during 3 hours test, the CO conversion and methane selectivity and carbon 5 plus are always stable. And this shows this catalyst can be used in our pilot plant and industrial scale plant. It's very stable. This is a test of ICC2 catalyst. This is an iron and manganese catalyst. From the figure, we can see during 4 solar hours, the selectivity, cell conversion is nearly stable, and the shape is very good. Our catalyst is formed by spray drying process. In our laboratory, we use MES, XRD, SEM, and TM to test, to research the catalyst. And from this information, reaction test, we got a fundamental mechanism for catalyst preparation and its performance. We also know the effect of different reactor on the formation and stability of active phase of iron catalyst, and the importance of Fe5 carbon 2 phase for effective FTS synthesis. This figure shows during long run, we test active phase of catalyst. From this figure, we can see this is the total iron carbonate carbon diary, and this is the carbon 5 Fe5 carbon 2. From this figure, we can see iron carbide is responsible for FTS activity. In our research group, some of our research also did the quantum calculation for CO and hydrogen absorbed on the surface of catalyst, Fe5 and carbon 2. This is the result for hydrogen to CO and to 1. And based on our information, in our laboratory we get the kinetic FTS kinetic model. This is the vector equation. So we summarize our laboratory investigation on kinetic and reactor modeling. We established a detailed kinetic model for FTS and WTS reaction. We extend our kinetic model to oxygenator formation and use the kinetic model to establish the reactor model. With our reactor model, we're predicting K conversion relation and predicting correct trend. Once the Planck scale data are available, we correlate with our reactor model and the process model and make our reactor model reliable in our Planck scale. We build the process model with Aspen class. This is the hydrogen. First one is hydrogen distribution curve, the experimental data and calculation data. This is the trend for oxygen data, and this is the result of our safety calculation. And the diameter is 0.35 meter. This is the safety calculation for bigger reactor with a diameter of 4.6. And this diagram, we use Aspen class to build the process flow sheet for our pipeline test. We divided into several parts: syngas preparation, slurry reactor, and product recovery. We also have the carbon dioxide removal section as an option. And next I will explain the pipeline action. By the end of 2002 September, we finished build our pipeline, and first run test 25 days. And during 2003, we have 3 rounds of our core technology test. And now we have finished the pipeline study and began process design package. And this is the pipeline action, basic process definition based on pipeline without some rough data. Or clean diesel, laboratory facility and control room of pipeline, and yes, in the end, I summarize our work. CTL in general has been well proved by large scale production and is an important and practical option for China fuels liquid fuel supply. CTL routing will bring us to a sustainable way in using our available source via syngas. CTL technology in China is approaching mature and will play an important role in growing market. The super clean diesel produced via CTL routing will largely impose greater benefit from environment improvement. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. The one or the other question might be further.
In several thousand hours, your iron catalyst showed no attrition. How do you get the physical strength?
Physical strength of catalyst?
Yes.
We get the sample from the reactor inside and then test the catalyst with MES.
Another question necessary should be asked. Otherwise, it will remain in the schedule. I think we should thank Vicente again and continue with the next So this will then be the next lecture, Yong Wang Li from Rio de Janeiro, from University of Rio de Janeiro, Federal University. Its title runs The Impacts of a GTL plant on Brazil's oil product supply and design expansion. It will be presented by Alexander.
Well, good morning. In fact, this study is part of the long-term energy plan of the Ministry of Mines and Energy of Brazil and the Ministry of Planning of Brazil. This is more a fuel market assessment, and this energy planning program in the Graduate School of Engineering includes chemical engineers as myself, but also economists, geologists, and people from the energy side. And in fact, for us, in the long-term energy planning for Brazil, we had many questions. One question is related to hydro potential, another question is biofuels, but also, and a big question now in Brazil is related to how to use the heavy acid crude oil in Brazil, and also how to improve the use of natural gas in Brazil. Because natural gas, in the beginning, was improved to be used in natural gas-fired thermal power plants, but natural gas-fired thermal plants in Brazil has to compete with hydropower plants in Brazil that are cheaper. And we also have bioenergy for thermal generation. So natural gas faces several challenges to be used in Brazil. We have to remember also that I came from a hot country from a warm country, and then we don't have natural gas for a household sector. And then this is a kind of secondary question for our study, for the Ministry of Mines and Energy, to assess the impacts of a GTL plant on the expansion of Brazil's oil refining cycle. In fact, our study was more focused on the refining segment. We are chemical engineering for refining segment. But this is a kind of sensitivity analysis for us. And let's say this is a new question that starts to be raised in Brazil. This is the methodology. I have to sum up something here, but in summary, we have here used several models for forecast our fuel oil and our oil products demand. These models, these mathematics models, mostly comes from a joint study that we did with the International Atomic Energy Agency of the United Nations. We also forecast the associated gas output through Hubbard curves and the non-associated gas output mainly through field production curves for the Santos Basin. Santos Basin is located at the southeast region of Brazil, and we have recent discoveries of non-associated gas that perhaps should be used, should be developed. And estimate the average yield of the Brazilian existing refining system. Brazil is converting his 12 refineries in order to improve diesel production and to reduce gasoline production. Also, investing in treating systems, treating units. Size also a new refinery to be installed in the next 10 years. This is a great question in Brazil. Brazil will install a new refinery in the next 10 years. This is quite certain for Brazil. But as of today, we are studying several schemes. A scheme for gas oil, a scheme for petrochemicals, and even a scheme for gasoline. But Brazil has surplus gasoline as of today. And this is the problem. Brazil is reaching the self-sufficiency in oil production. But Brazilian oil is mostly acid-heavy crude oil. Not so heavy, but heavy. Not so acid, but acid too. And forecast oil products domestic supply expansion. General market factors, I don't know if everyone is aware about the Brazilian situation. Brazil is a continent size of the country. Brazil, the country's gasoline and diesel consumption has risen by 6% per year and 4% per year. But gasoline is a specific situation in the 90s. Now we are forecasting that gasoline consumption perhaps will be reduced in the next 15 years. We are going to see that in the presentation. And this is a specific situation of Brazil, the large use of biofuels, mostly ethanol. Ethanol is competitive in Brazil. It's competitive with oil priced at $25, $30 per barrel. So now we are restarting the use of ethanol in Brazil. In fact, we use ethanol as an additive to gasoline, and we have some old cars with ethanol dedicated motor fuels. But now we are here starting the use of ethanol by using flex fuel cars. And this is important. Brazil imports a lot of diesel, LPG, and naphtha. Diesel is the great concern for the Brazilian policy. I will pass this fastly, but this is an interesting map of Brazil. This is where are the refineries in Brazil. Mostly 60% of the installed capacity in Brazil are located in the southeast region. The southeast region of Brazil also concentrates 50% of the GDP. And here we have the north region with a small refinery. And only to get a picture from the extension of Brazil, this is more or less 4,000 kilometers. I think this is the map of the European Union. I don't know, perhaps between 3 and 4. If you turn this, we have the European Union, but in fact, the population, the industrial sector is concentrated here. This is a more precise figure. We have here refinery capacity breakdown, as I told you before. Southeast concentrate this refinery capacity and concentrates also the oil products consumption. Southeast region exports oil products to the northeast region, to the north region, to the Midwest region, and also the gasoline production, the gasoline surplus, mostly to Africa and the United States. Brazil has large surpluses of gasoline, and Brazil imports diesel, mostly for this region. Diesel related to freight transportation. This is our natural gas output forecast. We, as I told you before, we used Hubbard covers to forecast associated gas. In fact, we forecast oil production, and the associated gas came from the oil production forecast. And here we have the Santos Basin. Santos Basin was discovered in 2002, and we really do not know certain what are the reserves, the proven reserves of Santos Basin. Perhaps something between 300 and 400 billion cubic meters. And this can be the expected production coming from the non-associated gas in Santos Basin. This is a quite new situation in Brazil. In fact, the associated gas is the mainly gas output in Brazil. And now we are going to face a new situation. Brazil also imports gas from Bolivia and Argentina. Imports gas from Bolivia around 30 million cubic meters per day, and Argentina around 10 million cubic meters per day. So this can be the available production in Brazil. And also I have to tell you that Santos Basin and this associated gas are also located in the southeast region in Brazil. So the southeast region concentrates the refining, the market, and also the oil and natural gas production in Brazil. So we run several macroeconomic models, and also we run the models for the econometric models and parametric models for the oil products demand. We also run some optimization model for the oil products supply demand, and we have this result. I can stress this result, the details of the result. I think in the paper also some of the details are expressed. But the important thing here is we had two scenarios. This scenario, we have more flex fuel cars and fuel conservation programs. In this scenario, you have a kind of fixed situation, frozen situation. But in the two scenarios, gas oil, diesel, is going to increase. And we have the situation of gasoline not increasing very much in the business as usual scenario, and even decreasing in the alternative scenario. This is in a specific situation facing Brazil. Brazil has surplus gasoline. Brazil has to increase this diesel production. The refineries in Brazil also have, as of today, a large yield of diesel production. So we don't have not very much potential to increase gas oil production in our existing refineries. And perhaps we're going to build another gas oil refinery in order to face this problem. This is only an interesting chart. This is part of our simulation. We have here some vehicle scrap curves. I think people here did not ever see this kind of curve. But now, as of today, we are here. And this is the ethanol fleet. As we can see, this ethanol fleet is going to rise drastically because of the flex fuel cars. Brazil is, as of today, new cars, 70% of Brazil's new cars are flex fuels. So perhaps this will be 100 in the next 5 years for light vehicles. And flex fuel cars can run with ethanol and with gasoline. But since ethanol production also is concentrated in the southeast of Brazil, and the light vehicles fleet is concentrated in the southeast of Brazil, mostly flex fuel cars will run with ethanol as a fuel. Here we have the existing refineries. This is the average yield situation of our 12 existing refineries. And we forecast in our optimization and process model what could be these existing refineries with the shadow investments that are forecasted, that are planned to be built in the short term, in the next 5 years by Petrobras, which is the Brazilian oil company. As you can see, Brazil has a small potential for increased diesel production, mainly investing in delayed coking units. Brazil is planning to double the delayed coking units capacity in its 12 refineries. We also sized 3 options for Brazil. In fact, in our paper, we focus on this situation, the gas oil refinery. These are 3-sided refineries. This is part of our study also for the Ministry of Mines and Energy. But also, this refinery here perhaps the most likely refiner for the next 5 years because of some private partners that are willing to invest with Petrobras in the southeast region of Brazil too. But this is not, perhaps this will not be this petrochemical refinery as it is here with DCC unit, but a petrochemical refinery more dedicated to propene and ethene too. GTL option will absorb, as I told you before, the Santos base production, the indirect production route. In fact, this GTL option was not sized by us. This came from scientific literature. We are not experts in GTL. In fact, in our university, we have some teams studying GTL, but for us here, the most important thing was to have a kind of gross of root plant and to forecast what could be, as a sensitivity analysis, the impacts of a GTL plant on the optimization of fuel supply in Brazil. So for our Gasoil refinery, as planned, as sized by us, we have the detailed size of this Gasoil refinery. We have some $3 billion of investments and a capacity of the capacity here. And the GTL plant, this comes from the literature, $1.5 billion. The margins in 2015 for the Gasoil refinery is forecasted to be between $5 and $10 per barrel. It depends on the oil price. We used the outlook scenario of the DOE for oil price, but also we had to forecast the oil price discount because of the characteristics, the feature of the Brazilian oil, which is have an acid. We have some models to forecast this discount for the Brazilian oil. As of today, Brazilian oil faces a discount of between $10 and $12 per barrel against the refinery acquisition cost in the US. But historically, this was $5 and $7 per barrel. GTL plant has a lower margin, but crude oil price and oil products price are quite uncertain. And also, oil products market in Brazil, particularly gasoil, is affected by the economic growth. As I told you before, gasoil is not used for light vehicles transportation. It's mostly used for freight transportation in the industrial sector. And Brazil faces a situation of, economic situation of stop and go. Brazil has, for example, 4% per year of growing in the GDP, and then a negative GDP growth, and then 5. So we have this kind of stop and go situation. Then we have these criteria. These criteria are used as restriction in our optimization model. We have an optimization model in order to maximize the revenue of the refinery system in Brazil, submitted to restrictions. And this is a possible restriction, the energy vulnerability. This is a kind of historical policy in Brazil to be self-sufficiency. In gasoil, this is a more strength policy, but this is, let's say, the most likely policy for the Minister of Mines and Energy, to have a ceiling set at 20% of the gasoil market. And this is perhaps the target of Brazilian oil company, to process the Brazilian crude oil, to increase, to boosting the profitability of the domestic oil production. Coming to the results, as you can see, in the business as usual scenario, we expand the Brazilian refinery by up to 3 refineries. But using the GTL plant, we do not need a new refinery if we use the vulnerability scenario criteria. The GTL plants tend to be less versatile than a refinery, but Brazil faces now high interest rates and has a lower fixed cost. So perhaps GTL plant can be a useful solution. The alternative scenario is quite the same situation. I go through to the final remarks, and I have to tell you that Brazil is a key player in Latin America. And in such a way, GTL plant in Brazil would have probably a significant impact on natural gas trade partners, as I told you, Bolivia, Argentina, and in the future, Peru. But the natural gas in Brazil will not be used very much for natural gas-fired thermal power plants. It's not competitive with hydro and with coal and with biomass. So we have to find uses for the natural gas. GTL can be a future solution. So thank you very much.
Task, and that really does will be presented by Andre.
So hello, ladies and gentlemen. So I will talk today about the transit studies of the elementary steps of Fischer-Tropsch synthesis. This work was performed in Lille in the laboratory of catalysis. So just general information about Fischer-Tropsch synthesis, that we are producing variable hydrocarbons from the synthesis gas, which can be generated from natural gas, oil, and biomass. So if we talk about chemical thermodynamics, at the usual conditions of Fischer-Tropsch synthesis, chemical thermodynamics favors Fischer-Tropsch synthesis at the temperatures up to 340 degrees C and the pressure up to 40 bars. So if we talk about the yield of hydrocarbons, in this case the yield of hydrocarbons depends mostly on the chemical kinetics. So, and what I'm going to talk now. So the next slide shows some simplified brief mechanism reaction pathway of Fischer-Tropsch synthesis, which we deduce from the literature. The first is absorption of the hydrogen and carbon monoxide, the first step. The second step is chain initiation, which is produced So the first step, I will continue. The first step is absorption of the hydrogen and carbon monoxide. The second step is chain initiation, which results in the production of CHX monomer. And then the third step is chain off, it's polymerization, and then chain termination, which results in the desorption of paraffin and olefin. And if we consider the Fischer-Tropsch kinetics, we have to take into account the possibility we have to take into consideration the possibility of olefin reabsorption. So, and the objective of this work is to study the K-elementary steps of Fischer-Tropsch synthesis in a pulse reactor in transient condition. And we're going to talk here about hydrogen chemosorption, carbon monoxide chemosorption, olefin chemosorption, and carbon monoxide hydrogenation to methane. So right now we are not considering the polymerization. So, and in this work we will be using cobalt silica supported catalyst promoted with ruthenium and a pulse reactor with detection of the product by mass spectrometry. So the outline of the talk, that first we discuss the kinetics of hydrogen and carbon monoxide olefin chemosorption. Then on the basis of this data we will build up some hypotheses about the steps, and then we'll try to use the hypothesis to model the transient responses during carbon monoxide hydrogenation to methane. So first some data about hydrogen chemosorption at moderate temperature. So here we reabsorb hydrogen at relatively low temperature, a little bit higher than the ambient temperatures, and measured, and there is hydrogen uptake by the catalyst, irreversible hydrogen uptake by the catalyst. When we measure the TPD with the detection of the product by mass spectrometry for this catalyst, what we can see here that there is desorption of hydrogen, which can be detected by mass spectrometry at about 373 K, and at higher temperature there is desorption of water, with appearance desorption of water. What suggestion, what hypothesis we can deduce from this data? So that hydrogen absorption is partially irreversible on cobalt catalyst at relatively lower temperature. So there is hydrogen uptake by the catalyst. And hydrogen desorbs from the catalyst at really low temperatures. So then we studied absorption of carbon monoxide on the catalyst with reabsorbed hydrogen. And what we could see here, so we can see when sending a pulse of carbon monoxide on the catalyst with reabsorbed hydrogen, we can see desorption of hydrogen from this catalyst. So it means that carbon monoxide is gradually replacing hydrogen, which was irreversibly absorbed on the catalyst. And when we did experiments with carbon monoxide, we reabsorbed carbon monoxide, tried to replace carbon monoxide with hydrogen, we didn't have any effect on that. So it means that carbon monoxide reabsorption blocks the hydrogen absorption sites where hydrogen absorbs irreversibly. So from this we can suggest that carbon monoxide and hydrogen probably absorb in the same metal sites on the catalyst. Then we studied hydrogen absorption at higher temperature, more closer to the Fischer-Tropsch reaction condition. So in this case, no irreversible hydrogen uptake was observed, and when we send in the pulses of hydrogen, they are not broadened after hydrogen have contacted the catalyst. So in this case, we see that since no irreversible absorption is observed, that hydrogen absorption is mostly reversible, and hydrogen absorption and desorption are relatively fast, not to broaden the pulses which are sent into the catalyst. So then we studied carbon monoxide absorption. So, and this is a pulse of carbon monoxide in a flow of helium at 423 K. So, and you can see here that the first pulse of carbon monoxide is completely absorbed by the catalyst. So in this case, we can see that there is irreversible carbon monoxide uptake by the catalyst at this temperature. And then, after sending several pulses of carbon monoxide, we measured PBD with MS detection. And you can see here that there is no carbon monoxide dissolving from this catalyst when we start heating from this temperature to higher temperature. We can see only appearance of CO2 at 443, starting from 443 K. So from this, we suggest that carbon monoxide absorption is probably irreversible since the pulse is completely absorbed by the catalyst. And we also suggest that there is carbon monoxide dissociation, since the only product of carbon monoxide absorption is CO2. So then we also studied absorption of propane, so it's like olefin on cobalt catalyst. In this case, we have different phenomena being produced. The first, when we send the pulse of propane to the catalyst, we see that some of propane is being hemisorbed by the catalyst. However, also we can see that there is some release of propane. So what we call here the effect which is called propane autohydrogenation. And this reaction was previously observed on the monocrystals of cobalt metal and on platinum catalyst. So what happens here? That propane is absorbed, and during the absorption it releases some hydrogen, which is involved in hydrogenation at lower temperatures of propane to propane, and at higher temperature we can see that there is production of some methane. And the second step here was to study what really happens, which species we have on the surface of the catalyst. For that, we try to hydrogenate the hemisorbed propane species with hydrogen. And when we did this, we can see that we have the whole bunch of hydrocarbons from C1 to C6. It means that during propane hemisorption of cobalt catalyst, we have some cleavage of carbon-carbon bonds. So now to summarize, I have to summarize some hypotheses which will be used later on for modeling here. So the first is we suggest that carbon absorption is fast and reversible as Fischer-Tropsch reaction condition, and carbon monoxide absorption is reversible and dissociated. So and then we will use this approach to the modeling here. So here it's we did the experiments with send a pulse of carbon monoxide in the flow of hydrogen on this catalyst in the flow of hydrogen. And here you can see the responses which we have. The first very narrow peak is carbon monoxide. which is not reacting to this condition. And here, the first broad peak is methane, and then we see also water. So in this condition, because we have a lot of hydrogen, we can see only methane, we don't see any hydrocarbons. And you can also see the carbon monoxide conversion as a function of flow rate, so which is normal, as depends on conversion on the residence time. So then we, using this hypothesis that carbon absorption is reversible, we have to suggest that quasi-equilibrated at this temperature. Carbon monoxide absorption is irreversible and dissociative, and we also admit that water absorption can be reversible. So here we have considered three mechanisms, which are based on this hypothesis to select the best one. So for modeling, we have been using modified Kobayashi model. In this case, the catalytic reactor can be projected by a set of stereotank reactors. And for each reactor, we have been using the system of differential evaluation for gas component and for adsorbed species. So, and then we have a system of evaluation, and when we solve them using MATLAB software. So, the best results we obtained for this mechanism, which is shown here. And here we show the results of fitting. So, you can see that we can fit pretty good carbon monoxide, methane. For water, the results are a little bit worse than for methane. So, and also can evaluate the set of kinetic constants for this mechanism. And what we can see here, I just want to show you that we compare the constant of K3, K4. K3 is the constant which is responsible for methane formation of the catalyst, and K3 is for water formation. We can see that the K3 is much higher than K4, so the methane formation seems to be much faster than water desorption from the catalyst. So here, for this experiment is factor of 100. So we can suggest that in some cases, water desorption from the catalyst can be a kinetic level step even in steady state condition. So the next slide shows the results of this modeling. We calculated the coverage of the catalyst we projected our reactor by 30 stereotank reactors. So here is the last reactor. So what happened when we send the pulse of carbon monoxide? So first, this is a pulse. The first carbon monoxide that absorbs on the catalyst will have increase in the coverage by non-dissociated carbon monoxide. Then there is dissociation to carbon and oxygen. And from this kinetic constants, it follows that oxygen-containing species. So the coverage the catalyst by the oxygen is much higher by the carbon species. So the oxygen-containing species, as CO and oxygen, appears to be the most abundant surface intermediate during this reaction. So, and now at the end, I want to summarize what I was talking about. So, what we can see that the high rate and irreversibility of carbon monoxide absorption on cobalt Fischer-Tropsch catalyst, high rate and irreversibility of hydrogen absorption at the temperature of Fischer-Tropsch synthesis, auto-hydrogenation of protein during absorption of cobalt metal sites, and also we carried out quantitative analysis on the transient responses during hydrogenation of carbon monoxide pulses to methane. And what appears here is that absorption of water is much slower than hydrogenation of carbon species, and these oxygen-containing species would be the most abundant surface intermediate in these conditions. So, and at the end of the work, one of us is Dr. Lermontov thanked the French Ministry for Research and Technology for a postdoctoral fellowship. And also, I would like to thank you for listening and for your attention.
Questions?
Short one, Brett on Cecil. Can you speculate a little bit on the dissociation rate of carbon monoxide relative to water desorption and hydrogenation of surface carbon?
So I just show you the concept which we obtained here. So if you basically, if we measure in transient kinetics, there is no rate limited step because the rate limited step is changing during the reaction. So I think it's what we have here what we found here that carbon monoxide absorption is relatively fast. So it means that in some cases carbon dissociation is much slower than carbon monoxide absorption. And then we have hydrogenation. So hydrogenation of carbon and hydrogenation of oxygen. And in this case, we can see that hydrogenation of oxygen is much slower than hydrogenation of carbon. So, and at the end, we obtain the high coverage of the surface by oxygen-containing species. So, but if we can compare the step of adsorption and dissociation, dissociation is slower than adsorption.
But on the other hand, you said CO is irreversibly bound to the surface.
Yeah.
In this case, we see it's reversible, and the other case it was irreversible. So I cannot understand this.
No, it's irreversible because we have only one direction for the reaction, one flow from gas to the surface. We don't have desorption of carbon monoxide from the surface to the gas phase. It means
The surface is covered with chemical CO, and only a small part of those is irreversibly split into the carbon and oxygen.
yeah, but it can be absorbed. So of course it's the first. We suggested the first absorb. Okay, so it's the first. The carbon monoxide absorbs molecularly, but it cannot be absorbed. It can only dissociate.
It can be fixed to the surface.
So here, you see here, that it absorbs irreversibly because there is only one flow to the surface. But
It should be, yeah. Further question? Something else important? That's fine. There's one point again. You have then the carbon. Is this actually C1 carbon, or are these all C1s together? CH, CH2, CH3. What does carbon mean in your?
so it's this mechanism. So it's a simplified mechanism which represents the transient response. Of course, in this case, we cannot make any conclusion about the exact nature of the
So
species.
carbon must not be carbon.
No.
It can also be. So one
Yeah.
has to be very careful with this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So if you want to confirm it, we have to do some maybe spectroscopy studies, because from kinetics we cannot say what's exactly.
Let me speak again. I speak again.